When the sun goes down, Sacramento lights up. Bold, smart, unpredictable. Join Sky Alton as he shines his spotlight on the stories, the talent, and the everyday moments that makes our community amazing. And now please welcome Sky Alton.
Welcome to another episode of Everyday Amazing. And as you can see, I'm not at the studio tonight. I'm actually at Labs Unlimited. And I have the very funny Tony Baker, man. How you feeling, man?
What's
Good
up,
to
bro?
see you.
Feel good, man.
You know? So first off, man,
Yeah.
tell me how this tour has been different from other tours.
Shit, I don't really have a lot on this one, man. This is this feels like the last tour, like last year.
Okay.
The only difference is, I guess, with this tour, I'm hitting the cities that I couldn't get to last year.
Got it.
So with Sacramento, I was here last year, but like cities like Greensboro, North Carolina, was the first time I ever done it. I did Tulsa, first time by myself headlining in Tulsa. I got some other cities that I didn't get to last year, like Indianapolis and like Buffalo and Fort Wayne, Indiana. So hitting some spots that I either haven't been to yet or didn't get a chance to touch last time. So
Now, tell me a little bit about that, because seeing your show, I can
Yeah.
tell that some of your jokes are tailored specifically for that city that you're
Yeah.
in, right? So, with you going to new places that you've never been before, do you scope out the area, kind of walk the scene, check out the city, and then come up with jokes like,
Yeah.
okay,
I always like to, the way I write is I write on stage a lot. Like I just talk about, what was on my mind and discuss on stage. And then boom, I talk about that on stage, see where that leads, see if it's something I want to keep, mold, use for later. But usually when I go to a city, I talk about that city in the beginning.
okay.
You know what I'm saying? So that way it's fresh. It's just for that city, and the people gonna relate to it, and so the icebreaker kind.
Yeah.
I don't want to go straight into the material. I'd rather be like, "Yo, man, Sacramento is this,"
Right.
So I always like to give it, and the fans appreciate it because
Yeah.
it's like, "Oh, talk about us,"
Right.
And so I don't want to lean on crowd work either. I want to come with my mind and my observations, and then that's like the icebreaker.
Now, so was that something that you developed over the years, or was that something that when you first started doing comedy that you kind of already had the mindset to do?
I think it more developed over the years because for a while I would just like freestyle a whole set.
So
And then when I did the Real Comedians of Social Media tour, Kev was like, "Yo, if you do a different set in every city you go to, when you go back to the city, how you gonna remember what you did and didn't do?" I was like, "Oh snap!" So I was like, "Let me stick to a set list." And so even when I do the local material at the top, I always when I come back to that city, I try to do some different stuff about the city,
right.
just to keep it fresh for
Okay.
anybody that might have come back. But all of that changing it up all the time, it sounds cool, but it also can be like kind of a hindrance. And like I got to realize I don't have to make everything new all the time.
Right.
Like some people want to hear the old jokes they heard before, or just like I'm overthinking it. Like I'm changing my set because the waitress was here last night. It would go down to that. Like, oh, the waitress heard these jokes. I got to give her something new. She working, but I'm still just like I got to switch it up. So,
But that's a good mindset to kind
Yeah.
of like have, because it means that you're always thinking about improving, always
For
thinking
sure.
of jokes. But what's also interesting about what you just said is it took somebody else to point it out
Yeah.
that you were doing that, and like because you didn't even realize that like this was something that like okay, that's a good point.
yeah,
You know.
it's a great point. So I was like, oh, you're right. And so ever since then, I've been focused on like I got my set, but I got the the topical material based on the city, and then I go to my set list, and then boom.
So we were talking a little bit before the interview started about you got your start in theater. Tell me a little bit about that moment you realized that you felt I can actually make a living off comedy.
So when I came to LA, I was pursuing acting.
Mhm.
I didn't major in theater. I should have majored in secondary education, but I started doing plays on campus at New Mexico State. And then I was just like, man, I want to act, man. I'm going for it. So me and my wife at the time and our kids, we moved out here to Cali, pursued acting, and then I was like, man, just doing a lot of extra work. And so I was like, man, maybe I should try stand-up comedy. Because I was thinking about all the comedians that transitioned into acting from comedy. And so I was like, that could be a good way that I can get exposure, And so once I did my first open mic, I was like, oh, this is what I need to be doing. And so ever since then, man, never stopped.
So when you said you did your first open mic,
Yeah.
did you feel like any? Because again, a lot of comedians, man, when they find they call in, some of them talk about like that first experience. Some of them bomb, some of them do great, right?
Right.
For you, was it something like, oh, this is easy for me, or did you realize like, oh man, this is not easy, but like this is something I had fun with, even though it didn't go the way I wanted it to go. I had fun with this. I want to do this again.
I had a really good first set.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, there's something here.
Got it.
It was good. It was an open mic. It was all comedians in there, but they were laughing. So I was like, if I were to look back at the tape that I don't have, but they probably not laughing as much as I remember them laughing, but it was enough for me to be like, all right, I got something here. And I kept going back after that. Yeah. So
tell me about a time when you didn't do as well, and how did you overcome that? Like, what, you know what I mean? Like,
so my first bad set was at this place called the J Spot in Inglewood, California. That was the first time I remember taking an L on stage. And I was just like, man, I was hitting up comedians that I knew. It was like, man, how do you recover from the L? They was like, man, you just got to get back up and do it again. So I was like, all right, I need to get revenge, right? So I went back to that same place, got the revenge, and I did worse than the last time. So I was like, man, come on, man.
So now
I went back. I was 0-2.
Oh, yeah, you
I was 0-2 in that mug. So, but I kept going back. So even now, like if I have a mediocre or a bad set, I'll be like, revenge. And like until I can get revenge, that taste is just sitting there.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the ceiling fan. I'm just like, man, I got to get back up there. So even now, like when I have a mediocre or a bad set, I'll be like, revenge. And so it just makes me want to. I remember in New York, I had a mediocre set at Rob Stapleton's room. And I was just like, man, it was just sitting on my soul until I got revenge. Not the next day, but the day after that, I went hard in Brooklyn and got the revenge. So now I was like, yeah. So, with stand-up comedy, it just feels like for me, your only funky is your last cut, like Outkast say. But I got to get that revenge.
So that's I think, an amazing mindset for anybody in the creative field.
Yeah.
Right, because you have to kind of like be your own motivation, right?
Yeah.
Because we hear a lot of rejection, right? You hear no's. Sometimes you don't do a good set,
right? And
nobody really can help you. Like when you're on that stage, it's just you. It's almost like a fighter, right? Like we can give you all the training, but once you're out there, it's on you.
That's it. Yeah.
And if you don't do well, you got to have the mindset to say like, hey, listen,
for sure,
I'm gonna get back out there.
For sure,
right?
Yeah.
So with that being said, man, tell me a little bit about, I know you touched on a little bit about how your comedy has changed like over the years.
Yeah.
How do you stay relatable just with like your jokes and everything? Because obviously like you talked about, your age now, right?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure if we looked at the tape, some of the jokes that you were talking about in your 20s or 30s,
right,
are going to be different from 40s. So how do you just stay up to date and current as you age? Like, how do you keep the jokes fresh?
For me, it's like I want to tell you what I observe. I want to tell you what I'm going through in life, and I want to make sure it's relatable to as many people as possible, to where they can relate. Even if you can't relate, I want to paint the picture so vividly that I can take you there, so you can kind of get a sense of what I'm talking about. So over time, I was just trying to figure out ways to talk about the observational stuff that we can all relate to,
right?
While also mixing in my personal stuff.
Got it.
I don't want to go overly personal, to where if you don't connect, then it's like, oh man, you know what I'm saying? But I'm always trying to be mindful of the connection with the audience. Because sometimes you can get too personal and they can't relate. It's like that pastor at church when they don't connect with the word. you know, they always try to interpret the Bible a certain way, and then they be like, all right, let me connect it to real life, and then sometimes the connection don't work, man.
Right.
And so you be sitting there in the congregation like, I don't know what he talking about this Sunday, man. And so I always try to, as best I can, because
Yeah.
you're not gonna get everybody, but I always try to be mindful of that.
I get that, and
Yeah.
I kind of saw a lot of that in your set because again,
Yeah.
you did talk about age relatable stuff, but then it was stuff that even if you weren't at that age yet or whatever, you still can relate to it in some form, some
Yeah.
way, and I think that's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
I think that takes like real talent to
Thanks,
really be
man.
able
Yeah,
to
it's the
connect that.
tricky part of comedy, man. You gotta figure out how to relate as best we can.
So a lot of people know you from like your voiceover work. Tell me a little bit about, man, how that came about and how it felt when you first realized that this is actually like something that you're really good at and that you can do for a living as well.
Well, the voiceover, man, it was just, so I started doing stand-up comedy in 2008. I think around 2012, maybe 2011, 12, I did a voiceover video of a goat in Brazil just harassing people. Then I did another one shortly thereafter of like a raccoon eating in the cat food dish. So I put those up on my YouTube just for fun. And then later on, when Instagram was growing, I put it up on there, and people was like, "Yeah, it didn't really get a lot of traction, but." And then I think I might have taken them down. I took them down because I was working with Marlon Wayans when he had What the Funny going, so we was gonna do like a show based on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, all right, and so things fell through over there, What the Funny, and then my friend Nick, shout out to Nick, he passed away, but he was always saying, put the raccoon video back up, man. Put that raccoon video back up. I put it back up on Instagram, and this time it just caught traction. The right people reposted it, and it just blew up. And so I was like, man, let me just keep doing these because I enjoy doing it anyway. Because I was doing it before everybody was doing that type of stuff. I was just doing it for fun, and so because I never did it to be like, hey, this will get.
You
It
were
was just
like,
organic.
this is funny.
Yeah, it's funny to me because I grew up with animals, so I was always interested in what they were thinking. And so I just started doing that, and then it was just going crazy.
Yeah.
So it was just like, cool. Now you know me for the voiceovers. Now you can come see me do stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be different than the voiceovers, but.
My very first introduction to you was the raccoon video.
Okay,
yeah. It was at a super viral.
Yeah.
And then from there, like I said, I started following you on Instagram.
Yeah.
And just all the animal videos, man, was just, and it was a few guys that were doing it.
Yeah.
But you were like in that top that I was like, anytime I would see something, oh, it's an animal, I know this is gonna be funny.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, no, like
For
don't ever stop doing that, man.
For
like,
sure. I love doing it, but it was just Instagram made it a little difficult because they were getting pulled off my page. And so you get too many pulls, they'll delete your page.
Yeah.
So I wasn't ready to risk that. So I was just like, all right, I'll chill out. So I just be finding ways that I can still post them and
without getting paid.
Exactly.
So man, you have all this experience in stand up, and I know you got to get out of here, but I just want to ask one final question.
Okay.
What advice would you give to someone getting their start in comedy? They're in a place like you, maybe in LA, and they're trying to really break into the comedy scene. What is something that you learned now that you wish you knew and you wish you kind of did back then?
Really, honestly, I don't have a lot of regrets or anything like that. I wish I would have started doing stand-up earlier.
Okay.
Just because I loved it. I wish I would have known this earlier. But I guess I came in when I was supposed to. Like I started comedy when I was 31, I think. And so I was already grown. I was already a father. And so, that probably affected how I handled and moved through stand-up. But like I don't have any other regrets other than just I wish I would have started earlier. But what I always love about stand-up is that I feel more control over my own destiny than I would with just acting. Mm-hmm. I'm not at the mercy of casting directors, producers, or whoever's running the audition. You just got to show and prove with that audience. Mm-hmm. I can create my own material. The control is there. So I felt like a business owner right out the gate. Mm-hmm. It's like if I can get better, if I can work on my craft, and then all the other chips will fall in line, if I just stay at it. That's what I be telling people all the time. Like you gotta keep doing it though. You gotta keep getting up. You can't be taking breaks. You can't be taking time off. Like you can't be half in and half out if you really want it. You know,
Right.
you gotta put the work in. And so that's why I always tell people, like, don't stop if you really want this.
Right.
Because some people stop and then you ain't doing comedy no more. Nah, I say, and then they come back and it's like, and you can tell who's not on it.
Yeah. Well, with the technology too, I'm pretty sure you've seen how social media has affected,
Yeah.
comedy in a way. Like you mentioned earlier, like the crowd work, and it's like, man, that seems like with the newer comedians,
Yeah.
And I don't have anything against crowd work, but it seems like that's what everybody kind of
Because it's a great tool. Because the reason I don't knock it is because crowd work is one of the tool sets of comedians.
Yeah.
Like that's something we can fall into. Like some comedians aren't good at it, some are exceptional at it. And so it's one of the muscles that I feel like is important. Like tonight on this show, when the girl was like, "Oh, I'm scared of bats," and so it was like, you know what I'm saying. Yeah. One thing I like to do is like I like to have the majority of my material be the material. If you come see me headline, I don't like to just lean on a lot of crowd work. That's just my personal choice because you pay good money, so I want to give you my material.
Right.
But if we fall into some crowd work, that's fun too. Like when I host my own show, I do a lot of crowd work.
Right.
So, but why comedians love it so much is that they don't have to burn their material.
That's true.
And so it's easier for them to get notoriety, get exposure, so they can come headline a club, and then they can do their material. You know what I'm saying? Or if they want to keep touring a lot, you can do the crowd work. That way you always got something fresh.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a great tool, and it's a great way for comedians to get exposure.
And a lot of people want to be a part of the show these days.
For sure.
Audience want to sit up front. But then the danger that I feel like hecklers sometimes people want to, like, how do you handle when someone wants to be on the show too much? Like, okay, guy.
Yeah. All right, man. Thanks.
Right.
I always try to find a way. My thing is, I don't like picking on the audience. Like I never want people to feel stupid or embarrassed. I want you to laugh with me. Yeah. So I always try to find a good connection with the audience to be like, I want them to laugh. I want us to laugh together about you. Yeah. Like with the girl with the that was scared of bats.
Yeah.
I wanted her to laugh with me. I didn't want to tear her down or make her feel worse than when she came.
Being scared of bats.
So if you're I don't know if I can cuss on here.
Go ahead, man.
If you're an asshole, I can grill you up.
Yeah.
But most of the time, it's very rare that I come across asshole, in the crowd. But I always try to make people feel better than when they came. Yeah. And so that's my, we can play together. You know what I mean?
I think that's a testament though to energy and like the type of comedian you are. Because I feel like the ones who get those asshole people in the crowd sometimes, not all, but sometimes they are assholes in real life. You know what I mean? So, the energy kind of attracts it, but they handle it well and it makes for good material for them for the type of, comedy that they do.
Right.
And I think the ones who aren't that, they don't necessarily attract a lot of that because it's just not the energy that they put out.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but once again, man, I want to, thank you again for giving me your time.
Oh, for sure.
Like I said, this means a lot to me. I know for sure the people out there are going to enjoy this interview. And then before I let you go, tell the people where you're going to be touring next, so then that way when they watch this, they can, check
when it's going up. Okay, so I'll be in Vegas at Wise Guys April 17th and 18th. Then after that, I'm in. Then I hit Ohio, so I hit Columbus, Cleveland, and Cincinnati. So I'll be there. We got Philly, we got Tampa, we got Orlando, we got Indianapolis, we got Fort Wayne, we got Austin, Texas, we got Raleigh, North Carolina, we got Greenville, South Carolina, and I know there's more cities in the in-between, but I can't remember everybody off the top. But yeah, man, I got the tour going, man. And so it's part 2 of the Replenish the Pockets tour. So pull up, man. Get your tickets early. Can't stress that enough. Get your tickets early, man. Don't wait till the last minute because I'll be stressed. Yeah.
And make sure you buy some merch.
And buy some merch, man. Get some shirts. All that good stuff, man.
Appreciate you again.
Man, come on, man. Appreciate you, bro.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
Until next time, I'll see you then.